I'd never really done anything like this. You know, you're always looking to try and do something different to what you've done before. But I suppose I never really had such a thing about zombie movies, or you know, I think there's only a couple of zombie movies I actually enjoyed. But I thought the script was interesting in that it was a different sort of slant on it, in that there was a kind of, you know, an infection that's taken over people's nervous systems and taken over their kind of bodies. And a lot of the themes of the film felt to me like, you know, it spoke to me about the sort of fragility of human beings and the fact that we run this planet, so we think, but the planet will survive quite happily without our existence. Parks is a guy who's kind of lost everything, you know, and as like a lot of people, he's had to sort of alter himself to be able to survive in this kind of harsh new world. But he's somebody who has just a grain of hope that there are some members of his family left out there, you know, even if it's false hope. I think that's what motivates him, until the realization at the end of the film that it's possible that, yeah, there's nobody out there waiting for him, that it really is kind of the end. So, but he's somebody like who's had to kind of cut off emotionally and be regimental about it. He's not a soldier, you know. He's like, they call him Sergeant Parks. You know, he's not a soldier. He was in the Territorial Army. So he's someone in this crazy world that people are just given rank, and people have come forward and taken charge of situations when they weren't kind of qualified, really. But they were desperate times, so he's found himself in a difficult position. And just walking into that sort of precinct, and it's all overgrown, and it looked like an old precinct from my hometown, actually, that they've knocked down now. But yeah, they are important. Very important, the sets are. And these feel really, really good, you know, authentic and real. There's not an awful lot of like green screen stuff been going on in this. The director, full stop, should create the world. You know, not some. He should create the world. He should create the environment for you to go and play in. The best ones do, you know. But yeah, it's his vision. It's a lot of people's visions coming together to make it work. He's a mixed bag of it all, really. You know, it's like, you know, they say actors, directors, and all that. You know, he's a mixed bag of it all. He's had to take care of us, and then take care of the technicalities of making a film like this as well. So he's a bit of an all-rounder, Colm, you know, and he's a good presence, which is what you need, really. Yeah, it's been great working with him. I've really enjoyed it. The situation is that it's us and these kind of children, and there are rules about making contact. There are rules about, you know, forming relationships and what have you. So people are very isolated early on in the movie, and it's not until, you know, that they're forced to leave the compound and kind of find other ways of survival, that they have to rely on each other to get through it, you know. The first thing is that he finds a use for her. He finds her useful in difficult situations. He finds that if he trusts her and frees her, that she'll go out and sort of find pathways for them. So the first thing is that he realizes that she's of some use to them. But then he also recognizes that she's very smart as well. And it's hard. I think it gets harder as the film goes on for him to be in her company and not sort of soften to her as the journey goes on. But she's an asset, and I think that's why she's useful to Parks. I think she's been fantastic. I've loved working with her. I think people can get around kids a bit too much. They can pamper them a bit and get excited around them on set. And I always, for the first few weeks, I kept her at arm's length a little bit. And she was a little bit wary of me. Not, you know, we'd have fun and stuff, but she'd come in the morning and hug the members of the cast and turn to hug me, and I'd go, I don't do hugs. And I don't think she quite knew how to take it. But it's interesting how everything just sort of kind of softened as the shoot went on as well. But it's like any kid. If she's got the natural kind of ability to do it, then all you've got to do is let her run on her instincts and she'll produce the goods, you know, as long as you don't get too involved. I had a scene the other night that was the climactic scene between Parks and Melanie, and I didn't need to do nothing. I didn't need to pretend. You know, what I had to do was work with her, you know. I think as long as you don't patronise them just because they're kids, you know, she's an actor. So when I did the scene, I was doing it with an actor, and she brought the goods. Gemma's character wants to mother her, and those instincts are in her to kind of do that, to kind of treat her as a child. And Glenn's characters is to experiment on her, to use her, you know, as an asset to find if there's a cure for this so the human race can survive. Because she's the key to whatever kind of evolution there is. The cure lies within her, you know, and her kind. And so, yeah, there's all these different kind of people pulling at this kid for different reasons. You know, when you're dealing with these kind of films, you know, without any disrespect, they can become very generic and very plot-driven and very much about from getting A to B and further, you know. And I think it's just learning how to make that work. I've got a bit of room now to be Joker. I'm not kind of overcrowded by my usual friends of Peg and Frost and all them boys. I can be the one. No, man, I like to have fun on set. As long as it's not distracting anybody. You know, gone are those days where you feel you have to be obtuse, and, you know, it always angers me when I hear about people talking about other actors and they say, oh, they're a method actor. And I mean, why are they a method actor? Because they stand and don't talk to anybody, or because they create this horrible atmosphere that nobody can work in. I usually find that that's more conducive to selfishness than anything else. I just think as long as you're not throwing anyone, you have a laugh, and when they say action, as long as you can switch into it, then do it, you know. I understand everybody needs a little preparation sometimes for some scenes, but I'd rather that. There's not much to get, you know, tense about these days. Just do it. I've learnt new tactics. The way that I was doing it before, it was a very, very hard road. And I think I've just learnt it's all in there. Just bring it when you need to. And I like having a laugh.